Girls attending the second edition of the Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Music and Agriculture Hands-on Empowerment Fair troop into the hall. They give a standing ovation to Christopher Kolade, for whom the foundation is named.
If you don't have that vision of what tomorrow is going to look like, you cannot take the right decisions today. And that is why we have focused your attention on those things that seem to be the criteria for making tomorrow as beautiful as it ought to be.
The guest speakers stress the importance of education in science and technology while building character for staying power.
STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths, and even now STEAM with arts is really focused on the solving solutions for humans and for the world.
Building a foundation of competence and also being known as someone who can be relied upon to deliver consistent, good quality product. And never stop learning.
Yes. A panel of discussants talks about the circumstances that brought them to where they are. Interest spikes when a question is directed at one of the panelists by a student.
Looking at the current situation of the country, you will realize that mostly things like uneducated people are more better than educated. I want to ask why. Should we believe that, do you believe that the saying that education eradicates poverty is just a misleading title?
Thank you so much for this question. I was actually hoping somebody was...
Hello and welcome. My name is Sunshine, the project manager, Sunshine Resources. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 hidden truths about education. If this is your first time visiting this channel, consider subscribing so that you do not miss any of our resources each time we release them. So now, let's go through the 5 hidden truths about education. Truth number 1. Do you know that you can be very educated and still remain poor and hopeless? This means that your certificate is no longer a meal ticket. In the modern times and dispensation, with all the technologies, artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is possible to go to school, acquire all the degrees and still remain poor and hopeless. Now why is it so? This is because for a very long time we have consistently refused to realize that financial education is not taught in school. Now each time we mention education, the first thing that comes to mind is the school. And each time we think of school, we assume that school should teach our children everything about life. But the opposite is the case. You can be a medical doctor and know a lot about medicine, or be a lawyer and know so much about law profession. Unfortunately, that does not mean that you know anything about how to make money for yourself. In fact, you can be an accountant pressing calculator every day, calculating other people's money. That does not mean that you know anything about how to make money for yourself. The reason why most professionals and graduates don't know much about how to make money is because school was not designed to give education about money. And it doesn't matter how long or how many years or how many degrees you have acquired in a formal education system, you may still not know anything about how to make money for yourself. The school curriculum, that is the content with which learners are fed with, contain values that can only turn you into an employee, that is a servant. Now, do you know that a pharmacist is not taught how to manufacture drugs, but they are taught how drugs works in the human body? An electrical engineer does not know how to manufacture a diode or even an IC, but he or she is taught how an IC or a diode works in an electrical system. An automobile engineer is not left behind because he is not taught how to manufacture a car, but he or she is taught the mechanics and physics of a car. Now, knowing how a car functions or the mechanisms or physics of a car is not the same thing as knowing how to manufacture a car or even how to manufacture part of the car. Similarly, knowing how Panadol works in the human body is not the same thing as knowing how to manufacture the Panadol. And just like GlaxoSmithKline company will say in one of their advertisement slogans some few years ago, if it is not Panadol, then it's not the same thing as Panadol. Now imagine this scenario of 2 bicycle repairers, that is repairer A and repairer B. Your bicycle got spoiled and requires some major repairs, and you took it to a repairer that is repairer A. And when you got there, with his fake tools, instead of him to fix the bicycle, he started to lecture you. These are the wheels, and this is the gear system. This is the chain that transmits motion from the back wheel to the front wheel. The motion of the wheels obey the laws of circulatory motion. I'm very sure you will say this is rubbish and you will move your bicycle from there. You now move your bicycle to repairer B. Repairer B, on the other hand, does not know the physics of bicycle, but he knows how to fix the bicycle. He immediately picks his tools and starts to fix your bicycle. And in less than an hour, your bicycle was up and fine. So which of these two repairers is more valuable to you? So how come the knowledge required to make learners self-reliant and enterprising is hidden from the curriculum? And we are only given the knowledge that can virtually turn every learner into an employee and a servant. And so because you are not taught how to make money or create wealth in school, you can be dead broke even with many degrees. So what is the way out? You now need to know that education has lapses, because from time immemorial we believe that education is all and it can provide everything for us. That is no longer true. So what you should do now is to acquire financial education. I personally call it customized curriculum. That is, create your own curriculum of what you want to learn in order to become financially independent. This is because the school curriculum, which is designed for everybody, can only lift you from the bondage of illiteracy and ignorance to provide you a better version of yourself, but it cannot lift you from the bondage of poverty. Knowing how to express yourself or knowing how to speak Queen's English does not put money in your pocket. Truth number 2. Even after we've gone to school, acquire all the degrees, we are still uneducated, or even we are miseducated. In the past and even up till now, we have so much adorned education. Education is something that runs deep. It transcends every single century, continent and culture that ever existed. Education is something that people save their entire life to pay for it. Education has been something that people build their entire life around. But there is something critically very important that we must know about education. Everything we know education to be up till this point, we created it. That is, human beings created it. The knowledge, human beings discovered and structured them. The curriculum, human beings developed them. The degrees, human beings designed them. The roles of students, teachers, and administrators, they are all created and designed by human beings. All these did not fall from the sky. They were all designed by some human beings some 100 years ago. Now, education itself is a social construct that we created hundreds of years ago. We decided the most important information. We decided how to pass it on, that is the delivery mechanism. But the big question now is it really working? That is what the education was designed to be. Is it really working? Today we find a lot of jobless and hopeless young graduates in our society long after acquiring degrees upon degrees. So what is the full meaning of education to you now? For some people, education is that degree they go and get from the University of Ibadan, or the Ahmadu Bello University, or even the Harvard University. Now, permit me to fashion out the meaning of education. For you to be able to understand me very well, you need to unlearn what you have learned before about the meaning of education. Now, education is not what you get in the classroom. Education is what you get every day of your life. A truly educated person is that person who learns every day. Education should be like food. It is necessary for your whole life, just like water. If you take water, food, or oxygen every day, then you need the same as education. Now, this is not the same for so many people because they believe that the best education is the one received in the classroom. In other words, the education that is certified. Other forms of education received outside the classroom that are not backed up by any certificate are not important. And so because of that, when they come out of school, they do not learn anything anymore. In the information age, that is no longer obtainable because there are likely possibilities of having 80% of your grade in the classroom becoming 0% of your future. Now in this age, the education that may transform your life, lift you out of poverty, may not even come from the classroom, but an education in which you yourself created your own curriculum by yourself, acquire the knowledge, and apply it by yourself. Do not allow yourself to be miseducated. The world and the world of works is transforming. Virtually everything is changing. People acquire high-income ICT skills and work from the comfort of their homes to deliver services to millions of people all over the world. Such skills do not come from the classroom. They are customized curriculum. If you don't learn new skills, new ideas, you will not come across knowledge and skill necessary for you to create wealth and transform your life. So, what is the way out? Start seeing education as you see water, food, and oxygen. Water is not what you drink once in a lifetime, but what you drink every day. Keep acquiring new skills. Keep updating and upgrading yourself. There are so many high-income skills in the digital world you can acquire. Learn how to create digital product, learn how to design graphic, learn how to create app, and so on. Truth number 3. Do you know that the more degrees you have, or the more time you spend in the classroom, the more you are likely to love job? Because school was designed to train you to become an employee. The more time you spend in the four walls of a school, the more you will love someone's employment and job. Have you ever seen a man or a woman who pursue a master's degree or a PhD because he wants to set up his or her business or company? All these stuff prepare you to serve and work for people. It doesn't matter who or what organization you want to work for, whether government or private. The most important thing here is that the organization is not your own. It belongs to someone else, or a group, or a government, and you can be hired or fired anytime. An interview was scheduled for professors and PhD holders in one of the private universities in Nigeria. At the time of the interview, the professors and PhD holders were informed by the interviewers that they would have to write an aptitude test first. Some of the professors got embarrassed and they left the scene of the interview as they lament, how can a whole professor write an aptitude test? Now that is how degrading it can be when you have been cultured by virtue of the knowledge to only work for people. Now, do you know that most school proprietors and directors are not educationists, but they are entrepreneurs who love education business? Most pharmaceutical companies are not owned by pharmacists, but are owned by entrepreneurs who acquire skills of drug manufacturing and they employ graduate pharmacists to run it for them. Now, let me share this experience with you to drive my point home. I was an undergraduate student in one of the universities in Nigeria, and my department was to hold an annual program which involved publishing of a maiden magazine. So I was asked to reach out to some pharmaceutical stores around the university environment to come advertise their businesses on the magazine. And so one of the evenings, I went to a very big pharmacy store within the university environment and requested to see the pharmacist in charge. After the salutation, I told him that we would want them to advertise their store in our magazine that we published very soon. The pharmacist now asked me to see the medical director, whose office is just next door. And so I moved to the next door to see the medical director. In the same way, after the salutation, I told him my mission for coming there. I spoke for about 2 minutes because I have to explain to him the purpose of the annual program and the publishing of the maiden magazine. To my surprise, this man kept silence for about 4 to 5 seconds, and then his response was, "Which time una go do the program?" He responded in Pidgin English. In order to bring his tension down, I also responded in Pidgin English. Now 2 months time. The point I want to draw here is that the medical director was an illiterate, but he owned such a big shop and he employed a graduate pharmacist. Does that make any sense to you? Does it sound like a fiction? That incident shaped my orientation about school and entrepreneurship. My desire to become an entrepreneur started growing from that moment. Today, I am proud not just to announce myself as an entrepreneur, but an educated one. And like I always tell people, it is a very powerful combination of honor. No university can offer you such an honor because they do not have the curriculum. And so there are so many rich entrepreneurs in our society today who are illiterate, but employ the services of PhD holders and professors to work for them. The more degrees you have, the more you are likely to love job and work for people. Please permit me to explain further. Jobs do not give you leverage to create wealth. And the more you love job, the less likely you are to be financially independent. Now, let me tell you some laws guiding financial freedom. You cannot acquire wealth with your single brain and two hands. Nobody in the world creates wealth that way. For you to create wealth, you have to use the principles of leverage. That is, leveraging on other people's time, effort, intelligence, and energy. Take, for example, Dangote Group has over 5,000 people working for him every day for 8 hours. Dangote himself now works for approximately 5,000 times 8 hours. He leverages on other people's time, effort, intelligence, and that is how to create wealth. Jobs do not give you leverage, just like entrepreneurs do. That is the absolute truth. Well, let me not make you hypertensive. While everyone cannot be an entrepreneur, and that may not even be true, because before the advent of Western education, our forefathers were all entrepreneurs. Some were carpenters, goldsmiths, blacksmiths, farmers, fishermen. Some were into lumbering, dyeing, etc. Nobody was working for anybody. But supposing in real life, now it is not possible for everyone to become entrepreneur, because if all of us become entrepreneurs, who will run the machinery of the government? But everyone can get financial education and learn and master the art of investing. So even if you are not an entrepreneur and you're working for people, you can learn about money and investing. Invest properly and be financially free. I hope this gladdens your heart and pulls down your tension. Truth number 4. Do you know that most school dropouts are very intelligent people? Since we have used the academic ruler to measure their intelligence, or what you may call IQ, and we have drawn the ultimate conclusions that they are incapable of learning, nobody wants to listen to them. There are thousands of students in our schools with great talent and potential that can be harnessed outside the academic environment, but such talent are frustrated by the academic system. Remember, the academic system of measurement was designed by human beings hundreds of years ago. Now we are beginning to see categorically that the system of measurement of human values and intelligence in the class has some measure of error when applied to some students. Let's draw example from the life of Bill Gates, the father of Microsoft. Now, Forbes magazine describes him as Harvard's most successful dropout. How about Mike Zuckerberg, the father of Facebook, internet most visited website, making it the largest social media ever created? But these great ideas did not come from Albert Einstein, it did not come from Michael Faraday, neither did it come from Sir Isaac Newton, but from Mike Zuckerberg, who the golden pen of Harvard University have declared incapable of learning. Now how about Jack Ma, who have consistently failed exams in the school, but turned out to be the Chinese richest man? To me, it simply means that the yardstick for education measurement, designed a century ago during the industrial age, can no longer measure the IQ of the generation of the youth in the internet revolution age. Such tools should be discarded. What most people did not know is that the younger generation, no matter their level of formal education, are the ones who knows where the world is going. For those who are open to learning new ICT skills, they learn and know so many things that the older generation do not know. A young man once told us a story in a conference of how he was appointed by a university vice chancellor to teach all the professors in the university how to use PowerPoint for presentation. The young man was so good when it came to PowerPoint application that he was recommended to a vice chancellor of a university. He couldn't have acquired such skills from the classroom, but perhaps from a roadside, and with constant practice he became perfect in the use of the application. Now what if he had not acquired such skills and depend solely on his degree certificate? Now let's go a bit further by looking at the internet. So many people who are 50 years and above do not understand how the internet functions or how they can use the internet to create wealth. While on the other hand, an average 20-year-old guy knows so much about the internet, and many of them are building wealth right from the comfort of their homes using the power of the internet, including myself. Though I am not 20 years, but I love to acquire new skills, and that was what led me to discover the internet and its powers. So do not be arrogant because you have a degree Many young people who never go to school or university are building unbelievable wealth using modern technology and the internet. Be humble, learn from them, and learn from the next generation. Truth number 5. Do you know that you can lose your job no matter how highly qualified you may be, or no matter your education? In other words, your education does not guarantee your job. In today's economy, it doesn't matter how much education or degrees you have acquired, anything can happen. Many people have been thrown into abject poverty because they lose their jobs to right sizing, downsizing, etc. They spend a very long period of their life looking for another job with so much frustration. Now, this is not to say that people do not lose their businesses. Every now and then, people also lose their businesses, but there's a big difference between possibility of losing a job and losing a business. Now, listen to this. An employee job depends on the decision of another man, while an entrepreneur is in control of his job. While disaster could cause an entrepreneur to lose their business, but because they created their businesses from the scratch, they will know how to start all over again. Every entrepreneur understands the position of failure as a determinant for growth in a business. Entrepreneurs usually understand that failure is part of what we manage in business. But when an employee is served with a termination letter, because he has no control over any situation here, there is nothing for him to manage other than to manage the frustration of becoming jobless. He now goes out to look for another job that may not be as good as the first one.